Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I am Dr. Shimanas, author, editor, and translator of 37 books. Today, I will be discussing eco-criticism, which is a famous term in literature, whether belonging to any literature, English literature, or French and German. This imply in everything. So, eco criticism is a new term in the field of basically English literature, which is believed to be the study of literature and environment from an interdisciplinary point of view, where all sciences synthesizes themselves to analyze the environment and brainstorm po- possible solution of the contemporary environmental solution. Means it is basically implied in novels where we see crisis related with environment, and the solution is given in a way to save environment or in a harmony with the human in the environment. So it is believed to be an intentionally comprehensive approach, which is also famous by other names like green cultural study, eco poetics, and environmental literary criticism. So it is basically a field of literary criticism. Hence, it means that eco critics try to investigate such thing, which has the underlying ecological values and concern. They are more concerned in finding the meaning of the word nature in a precise way, and whether the examination of place should be a distinctive category, much like class, gender, or race. They try to examine human perception of wilderness in a more accurate way. Their chief concern is that how it has changed throughout the history. They believe in the description of environmental issues of the contemporary scenario in popular culture and in modern literature, basically in literature. So, for this purpose, there have been many very much concern and among the literary world, and the writer and critic have considered other discipline also, such as history, philosophy, ethics, and psychology, to be possible contributor to eco criticism. So the credit goes to William Ruckert, who was the first person to coin the term eco criticism and use it in an essay titled as Literature and Ecology, an experiment in criticism, which he published in 1978. Before this, there was no such term as eco-criticism. So he was the first one to coin it in his essay. He intended, so he must be basically nature lover. And the thing that whatever was happening around him, like the cutting of trees or soil erosion and various other thing which has been hazarded to nature, was not liked by him, and so he thought of doing something for the environment. So since then there has been lot of work published by the people relating to eco theory and criticism, and it is still progressing. So this is a contemporary theory or criticism, and which is being developed by many critic and author, and in the contemporary scenario also many scholars and critics are working on it. So it is so because of the rise of environmentalism in the late 1960s and 70s, which has been like an explosion, and lot of literary writers contributed their writing focusing on the issue related to the environment. Earlier, there was no such concern related with environment, because with the rise of industrialization and the rise of urbanization, these things have developed, that people have started destroying nature. So when the people started destroying nature, then there was a need to save the environment. So this was not only limited to environmentalists or people of other stream, but also it was left for the scholar and critic belonging to the field of literature to contribute towards environment. So but they started working on this theory, but there was not so organized movement to study the ecological environmental side of literature. So these work related to the environment awareness to relating to the awareness of environment were scattered and categorized under a litany of different subject heading as pastoralism, human ecology, regionalism, American study, etc. So there was no such term of study earlier, which was an organized way. It was part of different stream. So the famous British Marxist critic Raymond William contributed a lot in this field and wrote a seminal critique of pastoral literature in 1973, which is The Country and the City, and is considered as a genius work reflecting the 2 decades of leftist suspicion of the ecological invasion of the yonder and its habit of making the work of rural labor disappear. Now, see, this word was coined by William Ruckert, but it was progressed by Raymond William. Raymond William contributed a lot and take it to much higher level. Although William himself observed that the losses lamented in pastoral might be genuine one, and went on to profess a decidedly green socialism. And other people were also working in this field. Like Joseph Meeker is a writer who is considered as another precursor of eco-critical writing. He wrote an eco-critical text, The Comedy of Survival, in 1974. So he worked on a book after Raymond Williams. The book, The Comedy of Survival, is also an early text in this field. In the book, he proposed a version of an argument that was later to dominate eco-criticism and environmental philosophy. So at that time, it was not so much accepted, but later on, it becomes the basis of eco-criticism. He gave the argument that environmental crisis is caused primarily by a cultural tradition in the West of separation of culture from nature and elevation of the former to moral predominance. Means, see, there was more development in the Western world in the field of science and technology, in the field of corporate sector. Means Western world became more urbanized, more industrialized first than the Eastern world. Means the Western countries, whether they were America or they were Europe, they started destroying nature first. Means they were more into development in the field of technology, science and technology. So means it were they were the first to destroy nature. Eastern countries followed them. So, but and the concern also came from the Western world. Meeker has tried to depict that a comic mode of muddling through and making love not war has superior ecological value. In the later second wave eco-criticism, like you see, there is also first wave of eco-criticism and second wave of eco-criticism, like feminism. So in the second wave of eco-criticism, has adopted eco-philosophical position with apparent scientific sanction. It was used by him as a measure of literary value, which has tended to prevail over Raymond Williams' ideological and historical critique of the shift in a literary presentation of nature. See, he went beyond Raymond Williams, and as Cheryl Gloffetti noted in his The Eco-Criticism Reader, I quote, one indication of the disunity of the early effort is that these critics rarely cited one another's work. They didn't know that it existed. Each was a single voice howling in the wilderness. So, coming to eco criticism, we see that it is not like feminist or Marxist criticism, because it has failed to crystalline into a successful movement like feminism and Marxism. Now, feminism and Marxism is a very successful movement in the world. Whether you see any country, and in every country, these two criticism has been very successful, but eco criticism has not been successful as a movement in the late 1970s, but it became a coherent movement in the USA in the 1990s. So in this 1970, though it was not successful, but it gained pace and it became successful in the United States in 1990s, and after that in other part of the world, even in India also, we have lots of environmental movement like Chipko, One Mahotsav, and many other. And there have been many environmentalists, like we have seen Sundar Lal Bahuguda also, and many other who have devoted their life for saving the environment. And there have been lots of writers who have taken environmental as a theme in their writing. Like now, a new term has also emerged, ecofeminism, which has been related to it. Means in any novel, um, when there is a atrocity towards women and nature, then it is called as ecofeminism. That I will discuss in any other video of mine. So there was a transition in the mid 1980s, and the scholar began to work collectively to establish eco-criticism as a genre, taking the help of Western Literary Association. Now, Western Literary Association, which is WLA, has played a very pivotal role in making it a successful movement. It was done with the main motive to evaluate the writing based on nature to function in non-fictional literary genre. With the collective help of many people, this attempt got success, and Glow Fletty became the first person to hold an academic professor position as a professor of literature and the environment. Now we see in different university of different part of the world, there are a department environmental, like environmental and literature, and there has been lots of research and studies going on in this field. So the organization UNR has retained the position in its and has established at that time as the intellectual home of eco-criticism. Even the other organization like ASLE has burgeoned into an organization with many members in, and there is an organization ASLECANZ. And India, in New Zealand, and in India it is OSLE-India. And there are in countries like Taiwan, Canada, and Europe. Now, Glofetti defined eco-criticism as, I quote, eco-criticism is the study of relationship between literature and the physical environment. And one of the explicit goal of the approach is to recoup professional dignity for what Glofetti called the undervalued honor of nature writing. Another critic, Lawrence Bent, defined eco-criticism as a study of the relationship, I quote, a study of the relationship between literature and environment conducted in a spirit of commitment to environmentalist praxis. Unquote. So there are many writers who have contributed in the field of eco-criticism, and there are lots of research and lots of work going on around the world. So, being a scholar of literature, me or any other person, we have not only our responsibility towards our people, but also towards nature. And we should fulfill our moral and social responsibility by showing our concern towards humanity and towards environment. So I hope more and more people will work in this field, and more people will understand and try to help. Not only we should read or write, but we should do do ground do work in at ground level also, so to save environment, because it is necessary for our own survival. I hope this lecture will be liked by all. Thank you everyone.